Here's your wrestling news for April 26, 2023, and we're kicking off today as this Friday's SmackDown will kick off what's been described as the biggest draft in history. Not only has Triple H said that everyone is eligible to be drafted, but one brand will soon be the home of the new World Heavyweight Championship, and the changes aren't stopping there. According to reports by WRKD Wrestling, WWE is strongly considering bringing back brand-exclusive premium live events in order to make the brand seem like a bigger deal. It was in mid-2003 that WWE began hosting Raw and SmackDown exclusive pay-per-views, and while that practice ended with No Way Out 2007, WWE did bring it back in 2016. Whether WWE brings back brand-exclusive events, only time will tell, but fans may soon be tuning into premium live events represented by just Raw or just SmackDown after the draft. But what do you think to this? Do you like the idea of brand-exclusive premium live events again? Sound off in the comments. During last week's SmackDown, Braun Strowman attempted to throw Ricochet across the ring at the Viking Raiders, but the spot clearly did not go according to plan. After Ricochet barely touched the feet of their opponents, many wondered how Braun could have botched such a simple spot, and that's because he was dealing with a concussion. PW Insider Elite report that multiple WWE sources told them that Braun is out of action, which resulted in tag matches planned for last weekend's live events being scrapped. Instead of Braun and Ricochet facing the Viking Raiders, Ricochet went it alone against Ivar, and on Twitter, Strowman thanked fans for their support and apologized for missing the house shows. Braun added that he is doing much better now, and while he didn't mention a concussion directly, said that he and WWE are taking every step to make sure he gets back to 100%. It's difficult to gauge how long a wrestler will be out with a concussion, and we can only hope for a speedy recovery for the former Universal Champion. Over to AEW, and Aubrey Edwards is the most famous referee in the company, if not wrestling today, especially since WWE avoids saying the names of their officials on TV. When some fans online bring up Edwards, though, they only do so to mock and criticize her, but some people might need to keep their opinions to themselves if they want to work later. Speaking on an episode of The Sessions, Edwards recalled receiving hateful comments from referees on the indies who were confident they could do a better job than her in AEW. Those referees will never get the chance, as Edwards added that refs who put her down after DM her looking for work in AEW, which unsurprisingly doesn't work out well for the would-be official. AEW has given opportunities to lots of people, but ultimately, how those hoping to work for the company treat those who are already all elite will play a role in Tony Khan's decision who to hire. As for right now, Aubrey Edwards will continue in her role as an AEW referee, and those who one day hope to work for AEW may want to double-check what they're putting out there on social media. Yesterday, we reported on Vince McMahon, who made significant changes to this week's Raw in Chicago. At the time, it was only known that McMahon had made a lot of changes, but not what those changes were. But we now know exactly what the chairman decided to edit this week. Fightful Select reports that McMahon cut a good chunk of time from Mustafa Ali and Chad Gable's match, which saw Ali get the win in his hometown. It was also noted that there were several matches that had time cut from them, and in some cases, the winner of the match was changed entirely, while other bouts just had the finish changed. The women's division was arguably hit hardest by the changes, with a segment between Candice LeRae and Piper Niven being cut, as well as a segment which would have featured multiple women backstage with Adam Pearce. Fightful added that several women have openly complained about having their time cut, given that this isn't the first time these edits have been made in recent weeks. It's worth stating that McMahon's changes this week were said to be nowhere near as big as what he did on the post-WrestleMania Raw, which has been deemed one of the worst Raws in history. From the moment McMahon returned to WWE, fans and the roster feared he would be taking over creative, and while that hasn't exactly come true, he still has plenty of influence over the product. At Stardom's recent All-Star Grand Queendom event, Mercedes Mone gave tribute to Eddie Guerrero, donning a mask inspired by Guerrero's Tiger Mask 2 character from the 90s. Those who understood the reference absolutely loved Mone's tribute to the Hall of Famer, and on Twitter, Lindsay Dorado revealed that he made the mask for his fellow ex-WWE superstar. At the event, Mone's reign as IWGP Women's Champion was ended by Mayu Iwatani, but no matter the result, Mercedes was honored to be able to pay tribute to one of the all-time greats. Throughout her career, Mercedes Mone has often paid tribute to Eddie Guerrero, and she's not the only wrestler to be inspired by Latino heat. Odds are, if a Rey Mysterio match goes on for long enough, you'll hear a reference to Eddie on commentary, and Chavo Guerrero is quite sick of it. Speaking during a virtual signing of Captain's Corner, Chavo spoke about the references to his uncle and believes that people are taking advantage of the Guerrero name. He said, "I gotta tell you this, I just don't understand why Rey Mysterio still has to reference Eddie Guerrero. I'm tired of people, and this is not a bitter thing, this is the truth. We worked hard for that last name. This whole family worked really hard to get that name to where it was, and we're tired of people substituting it in a sense and using it for their benefit. Rey Mysterio, I'm sorry that you have to lash on to the Guerrero family, and we're just kind of tired of it, so thank you for keeping Eddie's name alive, thank you for keeping the Guerrero name alive, but we don't need you." After Eddie's passing in 2005, WWE would make his death a pivotal part of Rey Mysterio's main event push in 2006, in a practice which has come to be known as Eddie-sploitation. While Chavo later said that his comments were just him being a heel, the consensus among fans is that this is just Guerrero trying to save face, and he meant every word he said. On this week's Raw, the LWO got a new theme song which starts with a nod to Eddie, but do you agree with Chavo that this is all too much? Sound off in the comments below. Next month will mark 1 year since Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of WWE Raw, and both women have since left the company behind. When Vince McMahon retired last July, rumors grew that the pair had signed new deals, and while that wasn't the case, one member of the team got very close. When Ringside News asked their sources, they were told that when the pair were offered new deals by WWE last summer, Naomi seemed ready to sign until Sasha held out for more terms. Naomi, feeling a sense of camaraderie with Banks, decided to hold out in solidarity with Banks, but clearly that resulted in both not working with WWE for much longer. While many were shocked by Naomi and Banks walking out, it's been reported that Vince McMahon simply laughed when it happened, so the chairman wasn't too bothered by what the commentary team later called a highly disrespectful act. Now Banks is competing as Mercedes Mone in New Japan, while Naomi's wrestling future is far less certain, but she'd likely be a WWE superstar today, if not for the boss. Over to NXT, as this week's show saw Andre Chase lose to Braun Breaker in what could be Chase's final match on the gold brand, if some are to be believed. After his match, Chase tweeted that it's been a hell of a ride in NXT, and new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. Immediately, fans took this as a sign that Chase is being called up, with many expecting the young star to be moved during the upcoming draft. While some names like Tyler Bate and Ilya Dragunov have been discussed as possible call-ups, Chase's name has not been mentioned until now. And who do you want to see get called up during this upcoming draft? And we're ending today with Shane McMahon, whose return to WWE action at WrestleMania 39 hardly went according to plan. During his impromptu match with The Miz, Shane suffered a torn quad, but that serious injury won't keep the best in the world down for long. On Instagram, Shane shared a video of himself training with others and doing so with a leg brace to protect his injured quad. At this time, we can't say for certain whether Shane will wrestle again or if WrestleMania was just a one-off, but we're wishing him a very speedy recovery.